Hello and welcome back. As you can see, I'm here once again at my home, familiar location, familiar backdrop for you. After returning from a little trip, feels like I've been gone for a while, and at the same time, it feels like I've never left. This video. Before I get into the video, I rushed here. I only have so much time left before the sun goes down, so the video might get darker and darker as I speak. And this brings me to what the video is all about. Time. And how our problems can only live in time. How anxiety can only be present in time. You see, anxiety needs time for it to live, for it to even be there in the first place. Drop time, anxiety drops by itself. Try to drop anxiety and you create time. You will wait for it to disappear. You will sit there in anticipation of your anxiety to not be there anymore. Pop a pill and you'll wait for it to diminish. You're creating time. Time is the link to all problems that man has here in this dimension. In order for a problem to exist, first of all, it needs to be out of time. It needs to be in time. It needs to be in time. So something happens to you and you keep flowing because you can only ever really be in the now. But this instant that happened in the past, you now carry it with you. Therefore, you use time and you create your problem in time, in this time gap between the pristine moment that you live in, that you can only be in, as you take a breath in your lungs and exhale out. That flow in and out is in the moment. But that problem that happened in time doesn't exist anymore. Even the breath itself is constantly changing. Even if you hold your breath, you continue to change as you hold the breath. Time doesn't actually exist. Change exists, and time is a measurement of change. So when you measure such and such a problem, which happened to you at this time, but you are here, what happens if you drop time itself? The problem disappears with it. And where are you? Here and now, in the moment. Because anxiety is an escape, a denial of what's coming. If you project something forward that you feel that is coming, that is anticipation. And these things are difficult until you've gotten the knack of it. I've struggled with anxiety for the large majority of my life until I reached the age of 36, until I gave the moment that we exist in more importance than those things that are going to happen to me or those things that already happened to me. Between the past and the future is the now. And in the now, things that haven't happened yet, or things that happened in the past, have no power over you unless you give it power. You give it power by replaying stories in your mind about situations that happened in the past, or replaying stories in your mind about how it doesn't want something to be in the future. Either is a denial or a clinging on to. You either don't want what's coming or not let go what happened. You see, it's a mental illness that you create. And Western society, unfortunately, teaches us that it's an imbalance in your mind, in your brain, that the chemicals in your brain aren't right anymore. So they give you a pill. It's the same thing as, and pardon the example, it's just as though you were to shit on your floor and the doctor says, well, it's there. Here, take a pill and you won't even care about it anymore. You see what I mean? Or it's like saying, same example, you shit on the floor and you spray some Febreze. Might not be the best example, but the point I'm trying to make is problems are only dealt with in the moment. And when it comes to the Western approach to how to deal with your problems, they'll teach you to cover it up or to learn how not to look at it when the issue might still be there. Now, this might sound paradoxical. I was talking earlier about how you create your problems by holding on to the past or trying to avoid the future. Let's say you have that poop on the floor. Okay. Well, that's going to still be there for as long as you don't take care of it. So some problems require action on your part. And the absence of action on your part can perpetuate what you see as a problem. Some problems, the mind can only give permission to put down once they've been solved. Anxiety can only be dealt with in the here and in the now by giving yourself permission to bring your attention into the moment, continually drawing your attention out of time. That poop that's on the ground, something that happened to you in the past, is an avoidance of responsibility, your ability to respond. So you just clean it. Just do it. Oftentimes, we've accumulated all these things in the past. We've done all these things in the past. We've shit all over our floor, and we fail to face the truth that sometimes you need to deal with situations in the moment. And if you just took care of it as it happened, it would have never been a problem in the first place. So sometimes being honest with yourself and not avoiding conflict can help you avoid the trap of time, which creates or seems to create the illusion of all problems in your life. Anxiety, depression. You see, depression is an accumulation of all those past instances that you carry with you, and eventually it feels as though you can't handle all of it and it's too much for you. Feels as though you can't respond to all of them. The truth is, you don't have to respond to any of them. You can simply choose not to look at them, but that's the same thing as just taking a pill, forgetting that it's there. But the paradox is not all problems need to be solved. And the difficult part when it comes to learning yourself, discovering yourself, is trying to figure out which ones need to be solved and which ones really don't. And here is a simple key that I hand to you now, is oftentimes the problems that are handed to you from the external world don't really need to be solved. If you were raised to believe a certain thing, like achieving a certain goal, getting a specific job, getting married, all these things that society teach you you have to achieve, if you haven't achieved any of those, that's fine. You have to look deep inside yourself and see where you're being honest, because your inner being knows there's going to be certain things in your life. Maybe you really want to play piano, as an example. You've never done it, and that seems to carry with you your whole life, but your mom wanted you to be a lawyer. Well, that type of problem can simply be solved by learning to play the piano. And then you might say, well, that brings up another problem. Your mom's going to say this and that, and it'll ruin the relationship with your mom. Well, that's not your problem. That's her problem. And that's where you need to differentiate the two. Because only there can peace be found for you. When you can learn to separate the difference between others' expectations on you and the reality of your heart for yourself. Are you being true to yourself? Are you living your best life? Or are you living the life others want for you? Rome wasn't built in a day, and these types of things take patience. I don't have any anxiety anymore because I brought those types of questions deep within my own being, and I learned that if another person has a problem with the way I live my life, then the other person has the problem. That's not my life. Wherever you are around the world, whatever time it is that you're watching this video, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Peace.